Hey everybody, this video, which is the T Corp experience. So basically this video will feature every single chapter. I will describe each of them briefly through cutscene, talk about the important information you need to know for the story, like and subscribe, and also I'll probably upload more because I will be finishing my exams now, yay! So yeah, enjoy. Following the incident that occurred in Wuthering Heights Manor, the Sinners just remained in T Corp for 30 days. One day, Dawn gets everybody's attention by screaming and shouting, classic Dawn. They were mentioned in the local news for the conclusion of the kidnappings that was carried out on the manor. You know. T Corp debt collector comes up to them, and apparently the Sinners have to own the corporation 10 billion and 40 million ands, which is equivalent to like $2. No one understands why they have to own that much tax, and this whole drama causes it, and then Altus was like, nah, and then started fighting everybody, and that's basically how chapter 1 started. So going on to the gameplay, we have two new IDs. We got the 2-star Ryoshu and the 3-star Yesang Honglu. The 2-star, I thought I could just roll her, so I spent almost 4,000 UNC just to realize that I only can get her in the reward exchange, so that was a reason. In terms of gameplay, I'll just put it really short here. Do you see this team here? No synergy in between at all. And you're telling me this team can beat the enemies? Yeah, this event is going to be easy. So this chapter is a bit shorter than the previous one, where the head, the head of the representative of the T Corp tax collectors comes out and says, yeah, you really need to pay this amount of money. And so Verganus, with no choice, it was unacceptable. After entering the place, they found out why their taxes was 10 billion, and apparently it's because the thing Dante uses in the manor apparently caused a leakage around the manor, and that causes, time to decrease by a lot. After realizing this, Verganus and Faust went to interrogate how they have to pay off. In the meanwhile, they told Dante, the manager, not to fuck around and make sure all of the Sinners are, well composed, not fucking around. And then one time, not even Dawn who did this, not even Dawn, but Mersuit. Mersuit insists himself to be in a machine that apparently extracts people's time to pay off their debt. And their debt was 10 million, or 10 billion actually, I lied. Either way, it didn't work out, so it was fortunate, I guess, but the moment Verganus and Faust were returned, he was pissed, and that ends chapter 4. Episode 4 starts with them talking about what they have to do in order to pay off their debt. So they made an agreement to suppress the distortion. Apparently the T Corp investigatory badge is very rare to get, and so only 4 people can do it, including Dante. Dante wanted Faust, Mersuit, and Yingsang, which 3 of them can't do, so instead we're going to have Rodion, Hongnu, and Roshu. Altis and Dawn are really upset that both of them were not mentioned by either of them, but oh well, the game's the game. So yeah, at the end, they were all sent to prison except for them 3, and so that's where their journey starts.
Chill out, man! What you mean, he's my king! I'm not gonna stick my king no more! Have you tried parole?
So the 4 of them, and including the T Corp's supervisor, visited the factory to meet the owner of the watch factory. He talks about how Distortion just attacked him. Alright, he didn't kill him, just took something, but he's unsure. So assuming it was time, but he still talks about how he still has 50 hours per day time, so does it really matter? And then insults the workers on the floor because apparently just these poor unpaid workers just did this a bit more insult. So as they leave the building, they went to the back streets. They were talking about how this syndicate Rodion knows, and it was led by Sawyer. Apparently it was a person from Canto 2 that I completely forgot has been committing petty affairs. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, Honglu dies by explosion. Bro, those Honglu fans must be crying right now after seeing that scene. But don't worry, Dante's there, so he was revived easily, and then the Vickers was running away, so they were chasing it, and yeah, that's how chapter 6 ended. as the sinners, and the assistant was trying to comprehend everything that happened. Unfortunately, one of its members got attacked by the Time Reaper, and her time has now been killed. Examining through the scene, it feels like she's been frozen in time, so they took infinite time from her, I guess. I could be wrong. Dante still sensed the distortion nearby, so Roshu went Gojo Satoru mode and trying to catch the guy. Roshu somehow managed to find not the exact same person, but I need to find it. Fortunately, this guy gave up and then leaked us the information of where the hideout is. And that's chapter 7, I guess. Episode 8 is really a short one, so here's a clip that basically summarizes episode 8. Episode 9 starts with them finding out the hideout and defeating the whatever this syndicate was called in the first place, captain. They were basically talking about how is Sawyer and the syndicate behind all of this. Talked about how Sawyer and other districts he works with is doing much better, I think. I could be wrong though, because for me I was just sleeping along the way. And yeah. Starts with how Rodion was pissed of how this T Corp employee just didn't rest the Captain Fennel, and apparently it's because it was not his show, but then she gets pissed because of this and asks why. Because of a petty theft doesn't really matter. Rodion gets jealous of how Sawyer is, his plan is working, and she's pissed of how does anybody really care about this case. And then, oh, the captain got attacked as the others were trying to chase what happened to the captain. Rodion looks at Dante and is like, why? Why does it have to be me who's losing? She should just go back to the casino and win more money. Because I love gambling, she says. Rodion finally wakes up and finally realizes that she needs to stop being depressed about this. And so she did. Eventually, Roshu and Hongyu was trying to find the Time Reaper, so they were spread out. However, the Time Reaper appeared in front of Rodion, and they were both talking about how the Time Reaper is actually innocent and it's not associated with Sawyer anymore. He's the one that's trying to save people time, like a saint, like Robin Hood for some reason. And then we got here Rodion and the Time Reaper fight each other. Well, in terms of words, not physical fight, of course. Rodion's brain to be like really depressed, and so, you know, the Time Reaper just disappeared because, you know, she can't just catch him anymore because of that. She complains to Ryoshu that the reason why she did the attack the Time Reaper is that because the Time Reaper was, you know, going to take her time. Episode 12 starts with Rodion being depressed once again, and Dante talks about how she's usually the one to hide people when they are depressed. However, she's with Roshu and Hongdu, so that didn't work out. As they investigate the person who the Time Reaper snatches the time from, they realize that, the scarf has been cut in half, and Rodion realizes that in the association, the scarf represents something, so this Time Reaper must have been a former member of the association. So they talk around to find this person who just about, nah, my boss is gone, oh no. Ryoshu informs Dante that, I do cigarettes every day, right? However, usually it burns out in 4 minutes, but when I check the clock tower, it says 2 minutes. How interesting, right? And coincidentally, the 2 people who got struck by the Time Reaper, or 3 actually, was also near the clock tower. Plan was that this Time Reaper is stationed in the clock tower, but they can't just go and arrest it immediately because they don't have concrete evidence that it's, you know, the Time Reaper, quote unquote. So Hongyu gets an idea. Episode 13 starts with them planning out in the clock tower with Hongyu as bait and everybody hides. The Time Reaper approaches Hongyu and talks about and yaps about how time is essence, time is everything, and you're just wasting time. Hongdu agrees with this and allows the Time Reaper to snatch his time. Everybody was scared for a moment until he actually tried to snatch time from Hongdu and it didn't work. This happened because 30 minutes ago they had the idea how the 12 sinners are linked to Dante's time and not, you know, T Corp's time, so it cannot be snatched away. and so every signal was being released, and it's time to suppress the distortion.
が良さそうだ。
Then goes to a flashback of the guy before he was a Time Reaper. Basically, he had an exam to do, right? Well, he doesn't have enough time, so he asked his brother for time, and so he did. And so he was feeling happy about this exam, and he finished it, which is really good for him, for T Corp. However, his brother did, without having that much time, did die in a car crash. And so this person began to go through depressive phase, talked about how everywhere he sees, time is being wasted, all of that time could be used for his brother to live, etc, etc. And so he became distorted and snatches people's time. And that's pretty much how this whole backstory just occurs, why he's the Time Reaper and why he acts like a saint to save time for everybody who really needs it for their life. Episode 16 is when they finally suppress the distortion, and then they celebrated of how, you know, they managed to suppress the distortion. Everything goes back to normal, everybody's happy now, the sinners can now be free, they repaid their debts, everybody's now happy now. Even though William was depressed, Hongyu and Roshu supported her throughout, so now she's happy, back to the boss, everything now seems safe, right? Until one asked where they're going next, and Rugus was like, the warp train.